Welcome all. Myself, Asha Judy, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. The topic is Internet and its applications. So, we should know what is computer networks before moving on to internet. So the computer network is a collection of computers and devices interconnected by communication channels. This communication channel is nothing but the medium the messages are going to transfer. So this facilitates the communications and allows the sharing of resources and information among interconnected devices. So informations and messages are shared through different computers through this internet. So networks may be classified according to the wide variety of characteristics. That is communication medium, communication protocols, scale, and the topology. Okay, first one is the communication medium, which is used to transport the data, either wired or wireless. So the wired one is using the cables, we are going to transfer the information without, the wireless, for example, we can say the Wi-Fi connection. We are transferring the messages and we are communicating through the internet through wireless. And the communication protocols. Protocols is nothing but the set of rules to follow while transferring the data. So the communication protocols, the types is TCP, IP, HTTP. These are the protocols used while communication. And the scale is nothing but the length or the distance of the connection, the network connection present. So LAN, PAN, MAN, WAN, these are the types of scale of the network. And the topology in the sense we'll call it as the arrangements of the systems interconnected in the network. So first one is the bus, ring, star, hybrid, and more are there. So in the types of network, we'll see first in LAN, that is the local area network. A computer network which spans a relatively small area. When compared to other networks, the LAN is very small in area. So the distance which covers getting the internet connection is very small. So most LANs are confined to a single building or group of buildings. However, this LAN can be connected to other LANs over any distance via telephone lines and radio waves. So this LAN is connected, that is, we are getting an internet connection through this LAN over the distance through telephone lines and also in the radio waves. So this most of the LANs connect the workstation and personal computers. So each node, that is each individual computer in a LAN has its own CPU. So it doesn't share the CPUs or the components, but each node or each system has its own CPU, which executes the program, but it also able to access the data and devices anywhere on the LAN. So we can access the data. If, for example, I can say my system is connected to some to LAN in the sense I can share some other. I can connect it to some other devices present, which also connected to the LAN. So this means that many users can share the expensive devices such as laser printers, as well as they can share their data through the systems which are interconnected in the LAN. That is the local area network. And the users can also use the LAN to communicate with each other by sending email or engaging in chat sessions. So the LAN can also use the communication system, that is we can use to communicate with each other by sending the emails through the mailbox or engaging in chat sessions. So there are many different types of LANs, Ethernet being the most common, and PCs are, we have some characteristics differentiate one LAN to another. So first thing is in case of topology. So the geometric arrangement of devices on the internet. Topology is nothing but a set of rules we are going to follow in the internet connection. So while the systems are connected to the internet, we should follow some set of rules. According to that only we proceed the transferring the information. Okay. So for example, devices can be arranged in a ring or in a straight line. So how the systems are arranged? It basically depends on the arrangement of the system. For example, if the many systems are connected in a ring shape or else in a straight line or else in a star shape. So these are the different kinds of arrangements while following the communication network. And then the protocols, the rules and encoding specifications for sending data. So the protocols also determine whether the network uses a peer-to-peer or client-server architecture. So the rules while we are sending the information or data, so it also determines whether the network uses a peer-to-peer or client-server architecture. Either it follows near to near, it follows the rules between the peer-to-peer system or else through server and client architecture. So next thing is the medium. Medium is nothing but the devices can be connected by twisted paired wire, coaxial cables, or fiber optic cables. These are the connections. These are the cables used in the wired connection. So these are the components. These are the methods we can use while we are transferring the data through wired one. So some networks do without connecting media altogether, communicating instead via radio waves. So through the signals, through the radio waves, we can transfer the data. That is nothing but the wireless data transfer. So this is the picture which depicts the LAN connection. So we'll have a LAN connection. We are connected with all the systems are connected to the internet. So as I said earlier, the LAN connection, we are having the LAN connection. So over the distance of it will be connected through buildings or else in some more buildings also. So LANs are capable of transmitting data at very fast rate and much faster than data can be transmitted over a telephone line. The distances are limited and there is also a limit on the number of computers that can be connected to the single LAN. So there must be a limit limit of number of systems which are connected to the LAN. We cannot have n number of systems, but there is some limit while the systems are connected to the LAN. And the MAN, that is nothing but the metropolitan area network. So this metropolitan area network is a large computer network that spans a city or a large campus. So while comparing this MAN with a LAN, this is much larger than LAN. So which spans a city or a large campus. But in case of LAN, which is connected for a building or two buildings, one building, or we can also connect it through to one or more buildings within the same area. It is limited to the area, right? But we can't extend much in LAN. But in MAN, it can be connected over a city or a large campus. So the MAN usually interconnects a number of local area networks using a high capacity backbone technology that is nothing but the fiber optic links. So using the fiber optical links, we can connect many LANs together so that we can get a MAN. So we are connecting this LAN, many n number of LANs will get the MAN connection over a city or a large campus. So this MAN typically use the wireless infrastructure or optical fiber connections to link their sites. So it either use the wireless connection or else in through fiber optic connections to link their sites. And the MAN might be owned and operated by a single organization, but usually will be used by many individuals and organizations. Yes, this is owned and operated by a single organization only, but it spans to city or a large campus. And the WANs might also be owned and operated as public utilities. They will often provide means for internetworking of local networks, metropolitan area networks, which spans up to 50 kilometers. The devices used are modem or wired as well as cable. Okay, this man can be connected till up to, I mean, this will span up to 50 kilometers. So, and next one is the wide area network, that is WAN. A system of LANs connected in this way is called a wide area network. A WAN is a data communication network that covers a relatively broad geographic area. So this WAN is a little bigger than MAN. When we compare it with LAN and MAN, this WAN provides large area. That is, it provides a broad geographical area. That is, we can say one country to another country, as well as one continent to another continent. And that often uses the transmission facilities provided by common carriers such as telephone companies, etc. And this WAN technologies generally function at the lower three layers of OSI reference model. We all know we have 7 layers in OSI reference model, but this LAN technology function at the lower three layers. So the first thing is physical, and then second one is data link layer, and then the third one is the network layer. So the basic hardware components used in this network connections are all the networks are made up of the basic hardware building components, though, so through which interconnects the network nodes such as network interface cards, bridges, hubs, switches, and routers. These are the some hardware components used in the network field. So the first one is the network adapter. A network card or a network adapter, or we can say NIC, that is nothing but the network interface card, which is a piece of computer hardware designed to allow the computers to communicate over a computer network. So we are using this particular card, that is a hardware component, which is nothing but the NIC, network interface card, to allow the computers to communicate over a computer network. And it also provides the physical access to a network medium. This provides a low-level addressing system through the use of MAC address. Uses a MAC address system and allows the users to connect to each other by using the cables or wires. So this internet and the network connections getting connected through cables or wireless. So next component is hub. The hub joins the multiple computers or other network devices together to form the network segment. On this segment, all the computers can communicate with each other. So a hub includes a series of ports that accepts a network cable, and the small hubs network 4 computers. So this small hubs which connects the 4 computers in a network, and they contain 4 or sometimes 5 ports, the 5th port being reserved for uplink connections to another hub or similar device. So the 5th port is the port which is used for the uplink connections, which will connect the other devices, or it will connect it to the another hub. So the larger hubs can have 8 ports, so 12, 16, as well as 24 ports. So a sending computer transmits its signal to a hub, and then the hub will retransmit the signal to all other computers. So in hub, the bandwidth can be shared by all connected computers. When the computer, say for example, the computer A sends the message to C, the hub receives the signal from the A, system name A, and it retransmits it to both B and C. So only the C system will processes the signal. This is the diagram which depicts the hub. And the switch. A network switch is a small hardware device that joins the multiple computers together within one LAN. So this network switches appears nearly identical to network hubs, but a switch generally contains more intelligence than the hub. That is a slightly higher price tag than a hub. So unlike hubs, this network switches are capable of inspecting the data packets as they are received and determining the source and the destination device of each packet. And it can forward them appropriately. So by delivering these messages only to the connected devices intended, a network switch conserves the bandwidth and offers generally better performance than a hub. While we are comparing the switch to hub, the the switch plays the major role. So it will efficient than the hub. Then the router. A router is a device which forwards the data packets between the computer networks. So while we are transmitting data packets from one system to another, this is the component which is used to route the data packets. So a router is a device which forwards or which used to transmit the data packets from one system to another. So this router is connected to two or more data lines from different networks. When data comes in one of the lines, the router leaves the address information in the packet to determine its ultimate decision. Ultimate destination. So then using this information in its routing table, it redirects the data packets from its source to the destination. So it directs the packet to the next network on its journey or drops the packet if doesn't want the particular packet. And then the Wi-Fi hotspot. So access point in wireless LAN, that is Wi-Fi, functions like a hub or a switch in the network. So it connects the computers or devices together to create a wireless network. So some access points come as a multifunction device that incorporates the functions of switch, bridge, router, or broadband modem. So an area that is within the Wi-Fi network coverage is known as the hotspot. Hotspot is nothing but where we are getting the Wi-Fi network coverage, that the particular area is nothing but the hotspot, Wi-Fi hotspot. So many public places such as airports, hotels, cafes provide public Wi-Fi hotspots that have the broadband connection to the internet. So such hotspots can be accessed by the public for free or with a fee. So this is the diagram which depicts the Wi-Fi hotspot. So the wireless access point is present the center. Through the router, we are getting the information, that is communication, and then the broadband modem will be there. Through using this modem, we can connect it to the internet. And then the internet. So the internet started as a small network through a project by the US. The research defines by the name ARPANET. So ARPANET is nothing but Advanced Research Project Agency Networks. So in 1970s itself, the military network was connected to the internets of universities and companies that work for the Department of Defense. So initially it was called as ARPANET. After later on, it come as a internet. And in 1984, the military network split from ARPANET to form MILNET to be used by the American military only. So for the purpose of the American militarisans, so this MILNET is discovered from the ARPANET, and thus the ARPANET which use this protocol TCP or IP protocol for communication, thereafter used for scientific research and information sharing and all. Later, several other networks merged with this ARPANET to form a large network. So ARPANET is considered the first wide area network, and then Winton Gray Cerf, who was instrumental in the development of internet, and TCP or IP protocol is considered as the father of internet. And then in 1989, Tim Berners-Lee, a researcher, proposed the idea of World Wide Web. So this WWW, World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee and his team were credited with inventing the HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTML, and the technology for a web server and a web browser. So they could design attractive web pages containing this text, sound, and graphics. So this change witnessed a massive expansion of the internet in the 1990s itself. So the various types of computers loaded with this diverse operating systems in different organizations or geographically distant locations join this network, making it a global phenomenon. So this TCP or IP protocol is used as a communication protocol for for internet. So any computer that joins this internet should follow the TCP or IP protocol. So the protocol is nothing but the set of rules we should follow in the while transferring the information or messages through the internet. So in 1998, this Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, that is ICANN, was established. And this ICANN does not control the internet content. Rather, it develops the policies of the internet's URL, that is Uniform Resource Locators. So this ICANN it also develops the policies on the internet's URL. So today, the internet is the largest public network that connects the billions of computers all over the world. And this provides several services like searching, email, file transfers, social networking, etc. So we all coming across using this internet. Main purpose of this internet, we are getting many advantages through this internet. We want to search a particular content. We are using Google. This is a major advantage we have get through this internet. So if you want to send a message to the person in the sitting anywhere in the world, we can transfer our data to the persons who are present in the world. So we can transfer data, we can send emails, we can receive emails from the person, and we can also interconnect ourselves, engage ourselves through social media networks. So all of these things happen through the internet connection. So this internet plays a major role in today's world. So the internet is an interconnected system of computer networks which serves as the major part of the users all over the world. So this internet is the interconnected system of computer network, and the intranet is the private computer network device. So intranet is considered as a private computer network which is connected to the internet. And this uses the protocol, which is nothing but the TCP or IP protocol, to share information, to share the software, or we can share the services within an organization. So an intranet can host the websites, provide email service, file transfer, and other services available on internet. So intranet also will support us to communicate through the internet. That is, we can host websites, provide email services, file transfers, and other services available on the network. So extranet, when an intranet is made accessible to some computers that are not part of a company's private network, it is called an extranet. So a network which allows the vendors and business partners to access the company resource can also be considered as an example of extranet. So we should know the difference between the internet and the intranet so that we can proceed the next topic. So that internet is an interconnected system of computer systems, and intranet is a private computer network which is similar to the internet only. But this also shares it uses the protocol TCP or IP to share the information, software, services within an organization. But the internet, we can share the information, we can receive the information through all over the world. Extranet. So when an intranet is made accessible to some computers which are not part of a company's private network, which is nothing but the extranet. Extranet is nothing but the computers are connected to the particular organization, but they are not part of the company's private network. The systems are present, but they are not part of the company's private network. So a network that allows the vendors and business partners to access a company resource can be considered as an example of extranet. So data transfer rate, which is the rate, that is the average number of bits transferred between devices in unit time. So this is the data transfer rate, the rate at which the number of bits transferred between the devices in unit time. In a single time, how much average number of bits are getting transferred. This is nothing but the data transfer rate. So 1 kbps is nothing but the 1000 bits per second. 1 Mbps is 1000 kilobits per second, and then 1 Gbps is nothing but the 1000 Mbps. So this is the range of the data transferring rate. So next thing is the WWW. So that is the World Wide Web. The system of interlinking documents accessed via the internet. So it is a service on the internet, internet infrastructure, and this WWW is a huge client server system consisting of millions of clients and servers connected together. So each server maintains a collection of documents and they can be accessed using a reference called URL. So we are connecting to the website, particular website using this URL. URL is nothing but the uniform resource locator. You are this URL which allows you to use a particular resource, which locates you to use a particular resource. So each server maintains a collection of documents, and these documents can be accessed. They can be accessed using a reference called URL. So the documents may be in formats like text, images, videos, and other multimedia content. So it can be in any form, either it can be a text or an image or a video or audio. So it may also contain the hyperlinks, so which redirects you to the some other websites. So this also contains hyperlinks to find documents on different servers. So selecting a hyperlink results in a request to fetch that document or to fetch the particular web page from the server, and we are going to display it in the screen. So selecting a hyperlink results in a request to fetch the document web page from the server and also displaying it. So this WWW works by establishing the hypertext links between the documents anywhere on the network. So we can establish the hypertext links between documents anywhere on the network. So clients can access the documents on the servers using the software called browser. So how we are accessing the documents which are present in the internet? The clients are accessing the documents on the servers using a software. So we have a front-end software, which is nothing but the web browser. So this web browser is responsible for properly displaying the documents. So it could be an arranged format so that we can display the contents properly. So connecting the computer to the internet. So the internet has become very popular, and almost all the organizations, all the people around the world are joining it. So earlier people used the internet to search for information and checking emails only. But today it is used for even they are booking train tickets through internet. So recharging mobile phones. So everything becomes simple through the internet. So recharging mobile phones without going shops, without going to the reservation center, we can book the tickets, and then internet banking. So we don't want to go to the bank and we can access the particular thing. So we can access through the internet and a lot more. So in this pandemic days, we don't want to go to bank or we don't want to go to shop to do a mobile recharge, and don't want to go to a reservation center for booking tickets and all. So these things happen through the internet only. Therefore, almost all of us require an internet connection in our computers or in the mobile devices. So the following are the hardware and the software requirements for connecting a computer to the internet. A computer with a network interface card That is, we can connect the in-network computers through wired or wireless. So this facility is there in the internet computers. So networking computers and an operating system which supports the TCP or IP protocol. So TCP is nothing but the transmission control protocol, and then IP is the internet protocol. So these are the protocols which support the operating system, which, the connect of the connected systems. So then the modem. Modem is an important hardware which is used to connect, which the used for the system to connect to the internet. So the telephone connection, an internet account given by the internet service provider (ISP). So the ISPs will provide internet accounts so that we can utilize this internet for our purpose. So we can utilize this thing in a good way. So software like browser, client application for emails, chat, etc. So these are some examples of web browsers. So we all come across these web browsers. These are the old web browsers. They are still inactive now. So they are still active in today's time. So the Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, the Mozilla Firefox, Opera, Safari, you all have heard this. These are all the web browsers. And a web browser is a software that we use to retrieve or present the information and to navigate through web pages in the World Wide Web. So in World Wide Web, we have all the information. So it's a huge, complex volume of data. So among this huge volume of data, we are going to retrieve our needed information through this web server. So this web server is a software which acts as a tool or a application to retrieve or present the information, and we can navigate through the web pages in the www. The document to be displayed is identified using a URL. It is uniform, the resource locator. The path we are going to enter into a website. So the path which redirects us to a particular web page is nothing but the URL. So URL consists of its DNS name and file name to be retrieved. So it also specifies the protocol for transferring the document across the network. A browser is capable of displaying the text, images, hypertext links, videos, sounds, scripts, etc. So this URL consists of DNS name and also the file name to be retrieved. So this specifies the protocol to transfer the documents across the network. As I said earlier, the documents could be in a text, images, video, audio, in any of these formats. So some common web browsers are, I have said, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Opera, Safari. These are the default web browsers. These are some of the common web browsers. So how we are browsing the content in the web? All of us have visited the websites by entering the website address in the URL path. So then using the hyperlinks in it to move through the web pages. So if you click a hyperlink in a particular website, it redirects to the some other web page. This is nothing but the usage of hyperlink. So traversing through the web pages of www is called web browsing. So we are researching the contents in the internet through this web pages, which is nothing but the web browsing. The major operations performed while web browsing are shown here. There is a figure depicts the browser for sending the request of ISP's DNS for IP address to the server. The server receives the request from the client, and the server returns the IP address to the client. So then what the next process? The browser makes the TCP connection to the server. So the browser sends some get message, get request for the file. Who will send the get request to the file? The client. The client will send a get request for the file to the web server. the server will return the particular file which it has the indexed file in the indexed folders in the web server. It will search to the index, and it will after it get matches with the with the content they are asking, the client asking. After get matched, it will return to the client. The server will return the file, particular file to the client. This is the process behind the web browsing. Yes, the steps which follows. The browser determines the URL entered. Yes, the browser will determine the URL. What we are giving example, www.kerala.gov.in. We are entering in this. The browser will determine this, and it will send the request to the server. Server is nothing. Browser is nothing but the client. Client sends a request to the DNS server of the user's ISP to get the IP address of the URL. So ISP's DNS server replies with the IP address. So after getting request from the client, the server will send the reply to the IP with the IP address to the client. So the browser then makes the TCP connection to the web server. So client will make the TCP connection with the web server at the IP address. So then what happens? It sends the GET request for the required file to the web server. When the web server returns the web page, then the TCP connection is released. So the browser processes the contents of the web page and it will display it. So after getting the TCP connection, that is, after making the TCP connection, it will send a request, a GET request for the particular file to the server. Then the web server returns the particular web page. Then the TCP connection is get released. So the browser processes the contents of the web page and it displays. Then the search engines. So there are millions of pages available on the internet that contains information about variety of topics. Yes, but it's very difficult to search for a topic in this large collection of web pages. The internet search engine websites or special programs that are designed to help people to find the information available in the www. So web crawlers are the with this web crawlers will search the web pages stored in the different web servers and find the possible keywords. So this search engine website stores these keywords along with their URLs to form an index in the search engine web server. Yes, of course, the web servers will have the information for the data with an index file so that it will fetch the data. The client asking data, we can easily get the data from the index itself. We can map it with this index and we can retrieve the particular file to the client. So when we use this search engine website to search a particular topic or a keyword, it does not search the www. It only searches the index file, which the web crawler programs have created in the search engine web server for the topic or a keyword. So the search engine select a list of URLs where the particular topic is found from the index. So it will search the index and it will come with a list of URLs where the topic is present. So from this, from this list are shown in the client system. So this is the working of the search engine. So finding new pages or changed information on a web page. So this is URL. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. URL is a formatted text string or the web browsers, email clients, and other softwares to identify a network resource on the internet. Every resource on the internet has a unique URL, and the network resources are files that can be plain web pages, other text documents, graphics, programs, etc. So URL consists of letters, numbers, punctuations. These are the symbols. That is, we can have letters, numbers, punctuations even. URL string can be divided into three parts. So first one is the network protocol, which is used to access the file resource. Then the domain name, that is the host name or address. And also it identifies this domain name or the host name or address. It identifies a specific computer on the internet. So file name is nothing but hierarchical description which specifies the location of a file in that computer. So this is the file name. So this is the three parts. I mean the three parts is present in the URL network protocol. That is either it is HTTP or HTTPS like that. So then the domain name, that is the www.kerala.gov.in, that is the domain name of the website. So file name. So this is the three parts which present in the URL. For example, the http dot colon slash slash. This is the network protocol part, first part. And www.tnau.ac.in. This is the domain name, which is the website name. Then index.html is the file name, which they redirect you to the particular index page of the TNAU website. So, yes, they have given the description of the three parts. Then what is the protocol in this URL? The protocol enables the browser to know what protocol is used to access the information in the specified in the domain. So the second part is a domain name. Domain name is the name assigned to a server through the domain name system. These domain names are used in URLs to identify the particular web server, and the domain names provide the internet users with a short name that is easy to remember. Whenever we have to communicate with a computer on internet, we can do so by using its IP address. But it is practically impossible for a person to remember the IP addresses of all the computers, right? So one may have to communicate with. So they say, therefore, a system has been developed which assigns names to computers, that is web servers, and maintains a database of these names and their corresponding IP address. So these names are called domain names. And examples of such domain names are, they have given the generic domain names and the country specific domain names. So .com is a commercial business domain name. Edu.edu is the educational institutions domain name. So they have classified as generic domain names. And then .gov is the government agencies domain name. .mil is the military agencies, and .net is the network organization. .org is nothing but the organizations, that is not non-profit domain names. And country-specific domain names are .in. In this example also, it's given as keralaresearch.nic.in. This is the country-specific one. So .in is the it represents the India's domain, India. The country name is India. And .au is Australia. .ca is Canada. .ch is China. .jp is Japan. And .us is United States of America. And DNS stands for domain name system. It returns the IP address of the domain name that we typed in our web browser's address bar, like mobile phone automatically dialing the phone number when we select a name from the contact list, right? So like that, while we are selecting the particular link, it redirects to the particular web page. So the DNS system has its own network. DNS implements a database to store the domain. DNS implements the database to store the domain names and IP address information of all websites on the internet. So DNS assumes that IP address does not change, that is, it does not statically assign. And if one, as the DNS server, does not know how to translate a particular domain name, it asks another one and so on until the correct IP address is returned. So the IP address information of all websites will be on the internet. So this assumes that IP address does not change. If one DNS server does not know how to translate a particular domain name in the sense, it will ask for some other one, and so on. It will keep on until the correct IP address is returned. Yes, that's all about the internet and the protocols and the medium used in the internet applications. So how we are using this internet in our daily life. These are the things, what are all the things present in the URL. So those things we have studied in the topic called internet and its applications. So thank you all.